2 men in black suits burst in. They asked for my name, and I gave them a fake one. When I couldn't produce an ID, they pulled their weapons and ordered my hands up. My heart sank. Just then, Jennifer appeared with other agents, but she looked at me with cold, unfamiliar eyes. She ordered my arrest, and before I could speak, I was handcuffed and led away. I was thrown into a black van with a hood over my head. I realized I had been betrayed by the only person I trusted. As the van moved, I knew that once my makeup was removed, my real identity would be revealed. I would face the electric chair. Now, let's head into the heart of New York City. On Sunday, I found myself once again standing before Colonel Scott. Jennifer was by my side, but the atmosphere had changed. Joining us was Colonel Julie Roosevelt from the farmhouse. Without wasting any time, Scott got straight to the point. He informed us that we were heading to New York that evening. The sniper rifle had already been dispatched to our destination. Jennifer knew the details of the hotel where we would be staying under deep cover. Colonel Roosevelt took over, turning on a large LED screen that displayed a magnificent building. She explained that the target would attend a 1-hour meeting there at 10 a.m. on Monday. Following the meeting, he was scheduled to address a press conference in the building's courtyard. After a brief 10-minute speech, he would engage with reporters. This would be our window. A short span of 15 minutes where the target would be most vulnerable to a strike. She pointed to a specific chair on the screen where the target would sit to sign 3 critical documents. This process would take barely 60 seconds. Roosevelt noted that while FBI and police would secure every rooftop within a 400-meter radius, they had intentionally overlooked buildings further away. She highlighted the Four Seasons Hotel, a 200-meter tall skyscraper. From its roof, the distance to the target's chair was exactly 1,850 meters. Our room was already booked on the 50th floor and the rifle was waiting. I asked the colonel what would happen if we were caught. Her answer was chillingly professional. She stated that while they had planned for every contingency, our safety after the shot was our own responsibility. She believed that with thousands of rooms in the hotel, a quick search by federal agents was unlikely, but we had to remain vigilant. I felt the weight of the mission. I realized I was heading into completely unfamiliar territory. Jennifer's presence was my only solace. Julie explained that she would be sitting right next to the target while he signed the papers. I suggested she stand rather than sit and advised her to wear a bulletproof vest. At nearly 2 kilometers, a slight gust of wind could shift the bullet's path. I warned her that targeting a man's head from that distance was a gamble against the elements. We discussed the risks of a moving target. I argued that hitting him while he walked to the podium was nearly impossible at that range. Julie insisted she would try to stand during the signing to give me a clearer angle. I asked if I could abort the shot if the wind was too strong. Scott shook his head firmly. This was a rare opportunity that they couldn't afford to miss. I had to make it work, regardless of the atmospheric pressure or wind speed. After the briefing, Scott left us with the presentation to study. Jennifer began guiding me through the local geography and the surrounding structures. Her expertise made it clear why Scott had chosen her as my partner. Once we were ready, I went to say goodbye to Sardar. He was busy watching TV, but his eyes lit up when he saw me. He jokingly complained that I had been avoiding him, but his tone shifted when I told him I was leaving for New York. Sardar wanted to come along, but I told him this wasn't a sightseeing trip. I asked for his prayers and left for the car. Jennifer and I drove from New Jersey to New York in her sleek BMW, arriving in less than 2 hours. We checked into a modest hotel where a makeup artist was waiting to change our identities. Jennifer was transformed into an ordinary girl with subtle skin alterations, while I was disguised as an older man to blend into the city. We took a taxi to the Four Seasons Hotel, navigating through the heavy New York traffic. Inside the luxurious room, we found the heavy sniper rifle hidden under the bed. It came with a full tactical kit, including a long-range scope, laser rangefinder, and wind meter. That night, we scouted the rooftop under the cover of darkness. Despite the city lights, we managed to select our firing position. We ordered room service and prepared for the morning. I avoided sharing the bed with Jennifer, choosing the sofa instead. She watched me with a strange intensity but said nothing. Early the next morning, we moved the equipment to the roof and hid it. During breakfast, Jennifer became unusually serious. She told me that after the mission I must follow her lead without question. She promised she wouldn't let any harm come to me. I wanted to believe her, but her acting was so perfect I couldn't see the truth. By 9 a.m. we were back on the roof. A lookout in a security uniform was posted at the door to ensure we weren't disturbed. In the daylight, the target building was clearly visible. I used the binoculars to study the courtyard. Security was tight, with officers stationed on every nearby roof. Jennifer received a message about a slight change in the schedule. The target, Brainwaves, would now sign the papers after his speech instead of before the questions. We set up the rifle, fixing it toward the target chair. The laser rangefinder confirmed the distance at 2,800 meters. I adjusted the elevation knobs and settled behind the scope. Jennifer pulled out the ballistic calculator and firing tables we had developed during practice. I asked if the magazine was ready. She loaded 2 unmarked bullets into the rifle. These rounds had no serial numbers or branding, making them completely untraceable after the hit. The waiting was the hardest part. Finally, Brainwaves emerged from the building, surrounded by a wall of guards. He moved toward the podium. Jennifer was constantly monitoring the wind speed, giving me updates as the air shifted. As the target finished his speech and moved toward the chair, the tension reached a breaking point. Colonel Julie Roosevelt stood up to greet him. She looked nervous, knowing she was sitting inches away from a lethal target. Jennifer began whispering encouragement, reminding me to breathe and squeeze the trigger slowly. We only had one shot. The wind was blowing slightly from right to left. As Brainwaves bent down to sign the documents, he became still for a fraction of a second. I held my breath and pulled the trigger. The recoil hit my shoulder as the heavy round exited the barrel. Jennifer let out a cry of joy, hugging me as she saw the target go down in the scope. Chaos erupted in the courtyard below. We didn't stay to watch. We grabbed the equipment and sprinted down the stairs, hiding the rifle in a vacant room on a lower floor. According to the plan, we were to take the elevator from the 48th floor. Jennifer hit the button for the 5th floor instead of the lobby. She rushed me into a specific room where she stripped off her disguise. I turned away as she changed clothes, realizing the plan was shifting rapidly. When I looked back, Jennifer was in a new outfit with a different mask. Suddenly, another girl who looked exactly like Jennifer walked in. She was the one I had to follow now. The original Jennifer gave me one last look of intensity and disappeared. The new girl led me through the hallways, her demeanor completely different. I was confused and felt like I was being caught in a double cross. She told me to stay put while she disposed of our gear. 2 hours passed in silence. Suddenly, a violent knock at the door shattered the peace. 2 men in black suits burst in. They asked for my name, and I gave them a fake one. When I couldn't produce an ID, they pulled their weapons and ordered my hands up. My heart sank. Just then, Jennifer appeared with other agents, but she looked at me with cold, unfamiliar eyes. She ordered my arrest, and before I could speak, I was handcuffed and led away. I was thrown into a black van with a hood over my head. I realized I had been betrayed by the only person I trusted. As the van moved, I knew that once my makeup was removed, my real identity would be revealed. I would face the electric chair, and my country would be shamed. I had fallen into the same trap for the 3rd time, and now there was no way out. The mission was a success for them, but for me, it was the beginning of a nightmare.